emotional self. And so we're observing that mental emotional self as we sit with the eyes closed. So we're watching sort of pure awareness, then the mental emotional self, and also looking at, gazing at the body and noting, you feel stuck somewhere that you want to wiggle? Do you notice somewhere that you're holding that you can soften and relax? Also gazing in at the movement of the breath. The breath naturally just inhales and exhales of its own accord. The more we get out of the way and quiet down our mind and our emotional center, the breath actually starts to really expand and kind of stretch its wings a little bit. We might even just gently encourage the breath in the direction of longer, more full, more thorough inhale, a pause there where you hold the breath. Then the exhale, you let it spill smoothly out of the system. You might even add a little effort of squeezing the breath out of the system gently, holding the breath empty for a brief moment or two, and then breathing in, feeling that expansion, that holding of the breath. And then when you're ready, smooth exhale to empty. We'll just do this maybe 15 or so times. There's many implications, beneficial implications to different layers of us that our breath is affecting. And one of which is the lymphatic system, cleaning us out. So what's called the cisterna chyli is this lymph pump that's located sort of around the sternum diaphragm area. And as the diaphragm does what it does, it drops and lifts with the breath, it helps pump our lymph system, helps to clean us out. It's very important in winter when we're colder, things are a little more frigid, rigid, to make sure we keep that cleaning system pumping, the lymph system. So as we breathe, we can view it from different sort of perspectives, one of which could be just pump your lymph with your breath. Another 10 breaths or so. Gently opening the eyes. Bring your arms down alongside your torso, hanging. Sinking chi to wash organs. Arms floating up. And again, they don't have to get super duper high. They could stay low. They could get a little higher. But then tip forward at the hips and sweep the arms in a big circle out and around. And the palms end up facing up like you've scooped something. Lean back and draw the hands to the mouth as if drinking in, and down to the belly, the hands drop. And then the hands slide over the legs as we fold at the hips, round the back gently, open up all the vertebral joints, and hang for a moment. And then rise back up. Let's do that twice more. The arms wing. We lean and sweep in a big round circular gesture as if gathering. Then rocking back, we drink in mouth down to navel. This helps us feel also the importance of deep to the navel, that dantian right there, energy battery. and then slide the hands and gently round just to a comfortable point. And then sitting back up. And we'll do that one final time. We're going to do this also when we stand. We're getting the rhythm of it here in a simpler scenario. Rise back. And then we do what's called sinking chi to the belly, or closing gong. Up, turn the palms and fold up and over, and then settle all the life force right down to the navel area, and take 5 breaths here with your consciousness, your gaze, and your listening settling down to this point deep to the navel, about 2.5 inches. So just like the center of the energetic center of your body, of your being. And then let your hands rest on your thighs. Spinal movements. Slide hands forward past your knees. Tip the pelvis back. Drop the chin. Open the back. Holding that position for a moment. Then release the effort. Come back to neutral and do the opposite. Tip the pelvis forward. Lift the sternum and chest. Look up to the sky. Pull elbows back. And then relax and settle back to the middle. Let's do that one more time. So make the most out of each one. Rounding. Hold that round position. Feel all 5 low back, all 12 middle back, all 7 neck vertebra opening in the back. And relax that effort. Come back to neutral. Go the other way. Lift the chest. Chin. Elbows pull back. And then relax to neutral. One twist to each side. Left hand reaches to right knee, right hand up to right buttock. Turn shoulders, turn head and neck. Use the power of your arms and hands to help deepen the twist as appropriate for your body. And once again, relax the effort. So it's like you yin, you soften, and feel how just softening brings you back to your middle. Let's do it to the other side. Right hand to left knee, left hand to left buttock, and we turn. So clearly this is doing, right? We're doing something. We're turning. We're actively trying to make something happen. And then what's most important about the doing is the balancing it with the don'ting. So now, stop doing what you're doing in a soft way that rolls you back to neutral. Drop the arms alongside you. Let's do our side lean. We'll do 2 to each side. So as if dripping water out of your ear. Remember, this is as far as you want to go, right? Your neck, your spine, doing a little side lean. If you want to go further, you can lift that left elbow, even with the hand just hanging down. That might be as far as you go. Others might reach up if it feels appropriate and good. Reach towards the sky. And then droop that hand and gently lean back to center. And let the left arm reach down. The right elbow maybe comes up. Maybe the hand comes up. Oh, just leaning, getting the spinal joints to softly, gently move through their range. And then droop the hand. Let's do one more to each side. See if you can just flow right through it. Just by drooping, leaning softly. And reverse this soft quality back to center. And then a little bit of action, but this is a nice one because we don't have to actually do too much. We can just sort of fall into that pose there. And gently fall out of that pose, back to the middle. Good. Shoulder blades. We raise that right shoulder blade up and then melt that shoulder blade down. Notice how the arm goes along for the ride, left side. You don't have to lift the arm with any effort in the shoulder or the arm or the elbow or the hand, nothing at all. The shoulder blade is the driver of the movement. Again, right side, lift, and down. Left side. It's also the trapezius muscle, the muscles of the neck and shoulders that move down into the middle back can be like rock hard, or they can be cleaned out like sponges. So now we do both at the same time. Feel how it's sort of like you're squeezing a sponge, and then you release and melt. Do that one more time. Shrug. And back. Now we're going to try a new one here, the head and neck. So do this within your comfort zone. But the first gesture, just watch me do it first. I turn and look to one side, and I look slightly down behind me so the chin drops and the neck stretches in a particular way. When I go to the other side, I look slightly up in front and then slightly down behind on the other side. And then I look slightly up in front and slightly down behind. So let's go ahead and do that a few times. Don't go too fast for yourself. Take your time. So you look up in front. So your chin should be up a little. And then the chin comes down as you look down behind you. And then the chin comes up as you look up in front and then slightly down behind. Let's do about 3 more. Up in front, and then turning the head as if you're trying to see someone right behind you there. And then up in front and down behind. Up in front, down behind. Now, as you're looking down behind you, now look down in front. So when you come across the front, you're looking down, but then when you look behind you, you look slightly up. And then you're looking down in front and slightly up behind. Slightly down in front and slightly up behind. Continue. As you do this, take notice, if you can, of the movement of the skull. When you're looking down, the skull is in a certain position. When you look slightly up, it changes. So we're getting this circular motion of the skull by looking in these directions. One more to each side. And letting the eyes lead is actually quite good for the eyes because you're scanning the room. Now, as you're on one side, now look straight across at one level line all the way across to the other side, and then back the way you came with just a level. And again, look at this as a training not only for the neck and skull and tissue, but the eyes themselves. You're scanning the entire space around you. You're moving and just letting your eyes get that nice little bit of a workout as you come through the range of motion. Last one. And then we come back to middle and pause. The next one is a little tricky. Once again, watch what I do. The size of a dime on the top of my head, I make a small circle. So I let the head fall a little bit to the right, a little bit back, a little bit around to the left, and a little bit forward. And then I keep drawing that circle, getting slightly bigger with each round. Now, based on what you're feeling in your neck, at some point you might start to feel these little, you hear these little like crunkles and crackles and little tissue changes that are going on. Someday you might even get to where you have a much larger range of motion than you do today. But notice this real quick. So for instance, Tony, you're doing a circle sort of like this, right? And the circle I'm looking for is drawing a circle with your crown. So the head goes sideways, back, around, and then forward, and then around, and back, and around, and forward. So we'll just do a couple more, and all you're doing is just seeing what's your range today. It might be so small, but you just work that little range. This comes from a series called silk reeling. So we're reeling the silk of the life force into our tissues. Now, when you end with your chin down towards collarbone, and then you raise the head from there up to neutral, and then we do it the other way. So now I went out my this side first, so I'm gonna go out this side. I drop it slightly to the side, back, around, forward, around and back, around and forward. And just stay within your comfort zone. Again, the magic of these practices, and you guys have them on video feed, so there's a way that you could be doing these every day. And the magic of them is if you do this stuff every day, then slowly you feel this increase of range. Last one, as you come around, you finish with your chin down by your collarbone. So you just drop and let the head hang forward gently. And then we come up, crown lengthening towards the sky. And we sink chi to the belly as a closing. So that's a little bit of a neck and head series. So we shift, scoop hands up and over and down. So these Qigongs, as you've been learning from me over the last few weeks especially, they come in groups, what I like to call modules or little pairings or a little group of 3, and then you close, and then you move on to whatever the next one is. So that's how these Qigong sets are built. And each little set, you can find ones that really help your body and work on those. Now, arms come down, we do our shoulder blade series, right? So legs come together, shoulder blades protract, come forward. Notice the internal rotation of the arm, so the palm faces out. Then raise, come up and over and down and forward again. So let's just keep doing that for a bit. What you may find, right, you can see I'm sort of doing it is sometimes it feels really good to turn my head and look away from where I'm looking, and it pulls on the muscles a little bit differently. Or sometimes I look towards it and it pulls on the muscles differently. So you can just let your body be alive and intuitive as you work these kinks out. Switch directions, go back, up, forward, down, and continue. Remember, the shoulder blade is the driver. That's the key. It's very common to lose control of the shoulder blade and just start moving our arm again like this, where you got to make sure it's that shoulder blade, shoulder blade, shoulder blade. And switching arms. Forward, up, back, down. The other thing we're experiencing in many of these Tai Chi, Qigong, and Eastern practices is circles. Reawakening these circles or wheels. The body's built on all of these wheels that we've lost awareness of. Switch directions, back, up, forward, down. Because again, we don't need to do these movements in order to function as much as maybe we used to when we used to work in the yard all the time. We used to be more farmer based. We used to, we used to actually use our bodies perhaps more, where now we don't. So then these rusty wheels, start to get these rusty wheels. All right, back to neutral. Let's do both. Leaning, shoulder blades come forward. Now, when you bring the shoulder blades up, let your elbows float up a little and pull shoulder blades, elbows back, and then drape the arms down the back and roll forward again. So see if you can get this feeling of wheels. Spin the wheel, wheel. The wheels inside. 2 more. Switch, back, up and over, roll that wheel. And finish. And then lastly, in our shoulder blade set, right arm starts forward and up, and then as it goes back and down, left arm forward and up, and then right arm forward and up, and they circle. So this is a front to back circle with both shoulder blades alternating sort of, or slightly off kilter from each other, but they're both spinning, both spinning, both spinning. And then we switch directions, both spinning, forward, 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 and finish. And step your feet back to hip distance, sink chi to the belly. So that's another module within our Qigong set that we are doing. And each time you let the chi out to play, doing some work, and then you remind it, here's your home. The navel, deep to the navel. That's raw, undifferentiated life force ready to be used as needed. We don't want it caught in our head, thinking too much, in our emotional center, feeling turbulently. We want to let that process through us, which is great. But eventually we want to feel that return, that settling. And release the arms down. Now let's get the rest of the arms opened up. So take right hand to left knee, lean over. You got that arm hanging. Key is to let it hang like a noodle. So notice how far I'm leaning over, right? So I'm not up like this. I'm leaning over so that it can hang, so that I can circle, bigger circle. Circle even bigger still. Really let that nice range happen. And then if there's room for it or it feels good, then you can sit up and now you draw a big circle right alongside you. Notice I'm not forcing my arm too vertical. I'm just letting it circle. And then release, let it hang. Lean over again and do the circle in the other direction. So for me, that's an inward circle. And then I sit up and circle. Just easy. Right, getting an experience of, wow, this arm can move through space without all that effort, tension, and release. Other side. Lean, circle. Getting that nice full circle and then sitting up and circle. And let it hang and swing gently in another way. So just soft as can be. This decompartmentalized body allows for access of fluid power, hydraulic power. Power of the ocean, right? Surging, crashing, just powerful. All righty. Then back to neutral. Fold at the elbow crease. Compress the elbow crease just so we can feel like, okay, that's a closed elbow, and then relax the effort. Feel that open elbow, drop the arms alongside you. Soft wrists, soft elbows, float the hands up like so and down like so. Just right in close to you here and down. Up, down. Now we go up, out. Then when we start going down, the elbows sink, the fingertips follow. So now they're up high and we drape down. Now we're going to do that with this feeling here of release and let them swing. Do that again. Up and out, this circle, and then release. Swing, let them swing, 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 swing. Just open, soft, right? And two more. One more. And just drop. Release. So we're no longer clenching here. One of the things they talk about in the Qigong is as we create or allow for the softening and space here, then our Qi and life force fills that space. And that's what gives this sort of fluid quality to your Tai Chi arms. So it's the problem that we're all compressed here and holding here and top heavy here. So as we open that, then the life force can really move and we're like an octopus again, right? So we had to clear that. It's tricky to do though. All right, float your hands up in front, turn palms down and up just to get that corkscrew quality at the forearms. Then we do the wrists, palms up, we go a little in and out, in and out. Remember the little feathers at the fingertips, flare, in and out, little white crane movements. And then we circle, fold in, down and out, spin, and then get out of the way, circle, circle. And then can you do like I'm doing, look, the full extension and then the return, extend, return. So look at the circle that I'm making from shoulder blades out, shoom, shoom, this sort of white crane circle movement, boom, boom, boom. And the key is to bring it in and tuck, and then out and roll. So we've done portions of this throughout all the classes, but today is the first time we're doing this white crane full rotation. So see the palms, fold, roll, right? This little weird movement, and then shoom. Can you clear that path? All the way out, all the way in. And then can you, and now we switch. Palms turn out, drop wrists, palms come up, spin, spin, spin. And then white crane, right? In this sort of awkward position, and then out, in, out, shoom, shoom, right? And think of what this is doing at the joint level. The joints are very intrigued by this. The brain is intrigued by this. It's like, what an interesting movement that we're built to make, right? Instead of just sort of simple stuff that we're normally doing every day. All right, release. Now, palms turn to face the sky. Big old breath in, pull the elbows back, open the heart. And then tiger claw into a fist, into a wraparound, into a pull of elbows down, bow the head forward. Oh. Inhale, open. So remember what I said about the lymph system. When we breathe in, the cisterna chyli is getting that pump. And then we're adding to it by squeezing the muscles behind the shoulder blades and back. And then exhaling, rounding and squeezing the muscles of the armpits and chest. One more. So this is that clean you out position. Again, so important in winter time when we've got all the threats of the flu and other issues now that we see today. It's just like we want this healthy pulmonary system and lymph system. All right, back to this neutral and scoot all the way to the back of your chair and chamber and push, chamber, reverse, switch. Just do 3 each side. So we're getting this compress, extend, compress, and reverse. Other side. Now on this one, hold, foot and ankle, point and flex. Evert, invert, a little in and out. Inward circle, in and through. Outward circle, out and through. And change legs. Chamber, push, point, flex. Evert, invert. Inward circle. Outward circle. And neutral, chamber, down. Scoot to the edge of your chair. You're all the way at the edge here. Swivel steps. Remember, eventually you want it just to feel like a turning from the hip. The heel is the swivel, then the ball, the foot's the swivel. But the hip turn, lift the heel, hip turn, lift toe, hip turn, lift heel, hip turn. Finally, open and hold there. Take your hands to your inner knees and press open. Notice this leg here, my left, but it looks like your right, so we're mirrored. I'm rolling the inner edge of the foot off the ground, and I'm rolling open that hip. So pressing and rolling open. Feel that dispersal of compression and tension and sort of energetic congestion there. And then let's walk this foot back in. In, X, neutral, other side. External, lift, internal, external, internal, and open and hold. Same idea. Roll the inner edge of this foot off the ground, press. Feel that dispersal of congestion. And walk it in, internal, external, internal. Now we sort of double that. So step wide-ish, not your widest. And then press open and roll both open. So this is different than if I were to go like this and turn out. This is this sort of rolling. And then the opposite, rolling. So the outer edges of my feet off the ground, and I'm compressing the groin area and then rolling. This is very good for lymphatic system as well. This is called the inguinal region, groin and genital area. And there's all these lymph nodes in there that we want to make sure move. And so here we're compressing and squeezing and then rolling open and close. And we're back to neutral. Walk the legs closer. Let's do our shaking loose heavenly pillar. Start by lifting chest and chin. Fold and then round. Oh, 24 vertebrae. They stay rounded as you come up. And lift the chest. Elbows pull back. Now we fold. Just do this about 4 more times. See if with your mind you can sense or scan or track all 24 vertebrae. 5 lumbar, 12 vertebrae in the back, the mid-back, upper back, and then the 7 in the neck. And can you track them on your way up as well as they are gently moving this heavenly pillar, gently shaking loose this heavenly pillar. After you finish your next one, just rise up, find the middle, sit comfortably for a few moments. Step your feet out wide to a wide stance. Fingers in, this little bulldog or Komodo dragon arm position. It's where the arms are internally rotating in the shoulder socket. And then we drop in between and feel how just by dropping and sort of reaching the head through and rib cage through, you can get a nice stretch around the neck and shoulders. And then rise up out of that and lean back, 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 back. And then bow forward, elbows are flared out. We drop in between once again, just getting in there, looking for ways to wiggle loose. And back up. And then finally, now just watch me do this one here. I drop in and set it up. Then I'm rolling one shoulder sort of forward and down, and I'm turning the rib cage and head. And then I'm returning to center and switching. I'm rolling that shoulder. I'm even bringing this elbow around a little bit and turn. And then we're back to the middle and we do that again. So join me in there now. Bow yourself in, get set up, and then you drop the shoulder and turn away from it. Oh, sort of wringing out. Oh. There's a lot of opportunity for spirals in here. Shoulder spiral. Rib cage and shoulder blade, neck connection spiral. Do about 3 to each side. Try to figure out little ways to make it feel good to you personally, to the wherever you're feeling that barnacle stuckness, rigidity. And we're back to neutral after you've done your 3. Sitting up, now we go right into the dragon stirs the sea. Lean way back. Then lean slightly right and turn slightly right. So it's sort of like a twist. And bow forward towards that knee and then sweep through over to the other side. Lean way back and around. Dragon stirs the sea with its tail. Nice large range of motion, giving the brain an experience of how much room that you actually have to move. Let's go back the other way. This ability to really just take up space and let your body move through that space without losing your center. So we can both have a center and yet take up our appropriate and rightful space. And we come back to neutral, bring the legs back to hip distance, sink chi to the belly, a little mini closing. Hands in front of the navel. Hands crossed slightly and down. Stand to sit, sit to stand. So make sure you're at the edge of your chair. Your feet come a little behind your knees. You fold at hips. The head goes beyond the toes first. Then you push through the earth to rise. Then sit your butt back. Then bend the knees. Sit. 3 more. So the way up requires a little oomph. The way down, however, is more like rappelling down, controlled descent. The way up, you need a little bit of right? Just a little bit of let's go, but not too much. Now, 4 squats where you don't actually land your butt on the chair, but you sink, get low, and then push through earth and rise. Again. And rise. 2 more. Make sure your knees are happy. Sink and hold. Loading up power. Feeling that power build in the legs, build in the legs, build that stamina, that potency, build. Burn, right? Getting used to a little bit of that burn. Eventually you want that burn to just process through without you having to bail on the pose. Finally, push through the earth, rise to standing. Comfortable stance, feet hip distance or so. Now we're standing. Remember, we don't want our knees locked back. We also don't want to bend the knees. We want just open knees. So because they're open, there's a slight bend, not because we're bending. Now, rock your weight just a little forward towards the balls of the feet, toes. Feel that liquid shift forward. Then back from that, rock a little towards the heels, but keep your center throughout. Rock forward, tip slightly forward. Rock back, tip slightly back. Again, forward. And back. Forward. And back. Now, as you're coming back, wings. Rock forward, big circle. Like you gathered something, rock back, bring that which you've gathered to the mouth, down to the belly, pausing, and then point the fingers down, stick the tush out, sink the tail, but keep your crown buoyant, and let the back round a bit. And then push through the earth to rise back to standing. And we'll just repeat that 2 more times. Rock slightly back to get it started, and then forward to surge up and around. Like you gathered something, rock back, drink it in and down to the navel. And then through, open hips, open knees, open ankles, open feet. Push through the earth to rise. 1 more, so we rise, we're in the middle, and then we rock just a little bit back. We just go back to start the circle, forward and up and over, back to drink it in and down and through. And then push through the earth to rise. Now the opening Tai Chi, to experience the energies of Tai Chi, rock a little forward, hands go forward, rock a little back. Pung is the first energy, rising. Forward, the hands rise, floating up about shoulder height. Then they slide back and settle just in front of the chest. And then G, forward, like a driving forward through the fingers. But as they drive forward, we sort of settle in the middle so we feel an opening to our back. Turn the palms down and let them drop. Then, like we did earlier, where we rose the hands up and brought them out. You remember that movement? And now this is Lu, which is sliding, gliding back down. And then we do Pung again. Pung. Hands come back. Now it's on, the trough of a wave, sinking, 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 sinking. And then we keep sinking, tail, hands. We do that little move that we just did. And then push through the earth and rise back up. So that's the full opening of a Tai Chi form. We do it again, a little forward, a little back. Pung to G. Pung, rising. The hands naturally up over the circle, slide back and settle. And then G drives forward, G. They drop and release. Then there's this little movement here of floating, rising, like we did earlier, out. And then it's Lu, down, sliding, gliding back. Pung to on, or rising to sinking. Rising. Hands come back. Sinking, sink. Keep sinking through to the earth, all the way through. And then push through the earth, rise back, awareness in the navel. 3 more times that full Tai Chi opener. Rock a little forward, rock a little back. Think of this like you're letting the life force express its upward expansion and settling back. And then it's forward expansion, and then it drops. Floating up and out, and it's downward glide. And then it's upward expansion, pung, and it's downward expansion, on. One more. Forward, back, forward and up, pung, back, settle. G, forward, down, up and out, shoo. Lu, pung to on, pung, back, settle, through. Now we're going to learn a little Tai Chi that we haven't done before. What it requires, however, is this ability to shift laterally for a moment. So shift to your right and turn your left foot out just a few degrees. Now, pung with the hands, rise. And then as you shift into that left foot, turn, and naturally the hands do this little movement here that'll come up close so you can see. They naturally roll over. Then we come back across and turn. That's called Lu. So that's that guiding back. Then just drop the hands down and sink into that leg and let the hands swing across and then swing them back. So we're going to do that a few times on this side. Pung to Lu. Pung, as it rises, shift and roll it over. So feel that circular roll that you create there. And now the left palm faces up, right palm faces down. And then we naturally shift and pull back, sort of like you're drawing something back and across you. And then you just let your hands fall and release. And then fall and release back. Now we're loaded again for Pung Lu. Pung, rising, turning, rolling. One description for this that's good is like you're throwing a big blanket over something. And then this is like you're drawing or guiding or sliding something back and across. And then just release. So here's really important. Just let the arms go. So try not to hold them like this there. Soft. And then soft back. And then from that totally soft and easy place, we pung. Pung up and over like you're throwing a big old blanket. Up and over. The left palm faces up. We shift and turn back and guide back. That's Lu. Now we're going to switch sides. So you come over to this left side, and when your weight's over there, you can turn the right foot out a little bit. Now we pung, shift and turn and roll it over. Throw the big old blanket. Right palm face up, left palm face down. Shift and turn, that's Lu. Bring it back and across. And then you drop the arms and shift to the right. Keep the arms dropped, shift to the left so that we reload, ready for the next one. Pung, rising, and then throw the big old blanket. Throw it up and over. And there's a circular quality to that. And then shift and turn back. So we're shifting and turning. Feel your low back turning gently, that Ming Men that I've been talking about, which is the lumbar spine behind the navel. Feeling that loosening up or turning of the Ming Men here as we shift. And then shift again to the left. We do it again. Pung, Lu. So pung, rise, turning slightly, roll it over, finish it, and then it's time for a natural Lu, like a wave sliding back and across. Now let's switch sides each time. Shift to the right leg, pung the other way. Pung, up and over, big old blanket. Rolls, and then we go Lu. Guide and slide back. Drop the hands and shift. They call that the change step. We change, and then we're ready to pung Lu this way. Pung, throw the big old blanket. Round, feel the lovely roundness at every joint. And then round, sliding, turning through. And then drop and release. Now we're loaded up on this side. Pung to your left. Pung, up and over. Roll, then Lu, back and across. Drop the hands and switch. And pung Lu, pung and Lu, back. Drop the hands, switch. Let's do one more to each side. So the key to drop, right? I'm seeing some of you drop really well. Others of you are holding a stiffness when you switch sides. Soft. Remember that whole thing? We open these shoulders and then let the chi sort of move the arms from this little shoulder cavity. Pung, round, rolling, and then back and through. And then cross, soft, 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 soft. Let go of those arms. And then pung, rolling up and over. And soft. Now this next one is a little tricky. So we shift, make a ball. Hold a little ball in your hands like this. G, remember G was the forward trajectory. So forward is now to our left because this left foot is turned out a little bit. So you got your little ball over here. Foot is turned out. Shift and turn a bit and drive the ball forward. Then we do on, which is the sink. The hands float up, we shift back and turn a little bit back. And now think of it like down, straight through, and with your feet turned out, can you sink a little bit between the legs? Sink and hang a little, soft. And then rise back up, staying in that right leg. Let's do that again, same side. Hold the ball. Shift and slightly turn and drive that ball forward in the left to the left wall in your space. And then turn the palms face down. The hands come sort of up and back so that they're ready for on or sinking. Down. And then just this little open in the legs, the sink of the tail through. And then rise back up. And again, G on. Hold the ball. Shift slightly, turn slightly, and drive. Let the life force in the body express itself forward. And then the hands float slightly up and back. Fingers point towards each other and down. So my fingers are very close to each other here, right? And I'm pushing down, down, and then just letting it keep go through the body. And then rise. And you don't have to get super low. You don't have to put your knees or back at risk. It's just the idea of through. Again, G. Shift and turn, driving forward or expanding forward. And then up and back over top. On. Think of it like a wave suctioning through you. The trough of a wave, that is. One more on this side, then we switch. G. Drive. On. Up and over. And then sink. Okay, now to switch sides, we have to do a change step. You remember what that is. Change. Hold the ball on this side now. Turning this foot slightly out. G, there's a shift, there's a turn, and then there's an energy expression, expand. Then the hands turn to face the floor. We shift slightly, turn back, fingers point towards each other, and we're going down and through. Let it get to the earth. And then come back up. You're in your left leg, you make the ball. G, expanding to your right. Hands turn palms down, they come back up and over. Down. This is from a Tai Chi / Qigong form called the 13 energies, and it's really massively healing. We're learning the first 4, and over time we're going to learn all the energies and the steps that go along with it. But just see if you can get the idea that what we're doing is not anatomically so important as sort of expression of a quality of energy. This quality of driving, expanding forward, in the body, through the tissues. And then the quality of sink and through. Now, can we switch sides each time? So that means this foot that's turned out, you sort of have to parallel it, shift over to it, and then turn the other foot out and make a ball. Shift, G, on, back up and over, through. And then you rise. We got to turn that foot parallel, shift over onto it, turn the other foot out as you make your ball. G, drive, on, up and over, through. So sink, 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 through. Let it go. When you come back up each time from an on, there's over time is a feeling of less held and more float. Switch sides again. Parallel the foot, shift onto it. G, turn that foot out. So we have a little shift and turn opportunity forward, and then up and over and through. Parallel that foot, change. Last one to this side, turn that right foot out a little, shift, turn, and then back up and over, on, so G on. Last thing we'll do today is put everything together that we just did. So now, parallel that foot, shift and change step, turn out that left foot, pung, rising, and rolling over. Lu, back, across. Change step, you parallel that left foot, shift and change, hold the little ball, turn that right foot out. G, drive. Then the hands, palms face down. You shift back, turn slightly back facing the camera and down, through. Now, when you rise back up, stay in your left leg with the right foot turned out. Pung, pung. Lu, pull back. Then parallel that right foot, drop the arms soft as can be, shift and change, hold the little ball, turn your left foot out. G, on, up and over so that we can sink. And again, sinking, we're letting go of that which we are gripping in our body that we don't need. Give it back to the earth, that which is of the earth. And then when you rise up, light as a feather. Pung, so we're in that right leg, pung. Big rolling wave. Lu, sliding back. Drop the hands as you parallel that left foot so that you're prepped. Hold ball, turn right foot out. G. On, up and over, turning slightly back to center, and then down, through. Empty as can be, soft as can be, you rise, pung. Big rolling wave. Lu, the return of the wave. The release and settle as you parallel that foot back to neutral, hold the ball. G, turn left foot out slightly, shift, turn and expand. Let it reach its edge. And then we shift and turn back. On, down, 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 through, give back to the earth that which you're holding. And up, let's do one more to each side. Pung, roll, up and over. Lu, slide and glide. Parallel that left foot so that you can drop and come across, load up the ball, turn the right foot out, shift, turn, G, return, up and over and on, down. Rise. Final round. Pung. Up. Make sure this rolls up and over, so that it naturally comes down and through at a diagonal. And then parallel that foot, change step. Hold the ball. Turn the left foot out. G. Driving, let the fingertips finish, then come up and over, on, through. Rise back to standing, parallel both feet. 3 times, sink chi wash organs. Sink chi to the belly. Shogun, closing gong. Hands come right in front of the navel. Seal, one hand over navel, other hand over that hand. Small to large circles from the belly button, circling out in an expanding spiral, 18 circles, 2, 3, 4, 5, expanding 6, 7, getting around the whole of the belly, which is upper portion of diaphragm and lower portion here down by the perineum and pubic bone, right? So for some of those, you're just massive, full, big circle, expanding that chi we've just harvested to go out to all of our organs, kidneys, liver, spleen, digestive tract, all the glands in here. On number 18, we pause low and then do 12 in the opposite direction, getting smaller with each round as a sort of return. The mind is returning, the gaze returning, the hearing and listening returning to that point 2.5 inches deep to your navel, this embryonic, undifferentiated, almost original stem cell point, this factory of life force. On number 11 and 12, very small circles, and then you hold the seal. The mind quiet, just about 5, 6 breaths. Just like water returns through the ground to ground reservoirs, When we are mentally and emotionally still and calm and clear, our life force knows exactly where to go back to its reservoirs within us. The main one being this navel belly button center. And then as that fills up over time, you'll feel that chi life force surplus go up and nourish the brain, heal the nervous system, heal the brain. Last 3 breaths here. And gently open the eyes, release the hands down. The closing hand position. Grab one thumb, fingers fold softly over. The yin yang position, right? Which means the yin and the yang merging and flowing and changing into each other naturally and appropriately. So we hold that and bow. Really, really nice work, everybody. All right, find your comfortable seat. We did quite a bit of new stuff. So if you have time, anyone who wants to give feedback or saying, and again, you don't have to say you love it if you didn't. But the idea of, was that